This is a forecast for the sign of Cancer. Whether you are Cancer yourself or whether you're just interested in snooping around on what's going on with the Cancer sign, this reading is going to be relevant to you. So I've already shuffled the cards. Everything is face down. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. First couple cards are going to represent the recent past for you guys. So I have the Eight of Swords with the Oracle card of the Torch. Very conflicted energy here. The Eight of Swords is like being blinded, not seeing something, being in the dark. And then the Torch is lighting up the dark. So I feel like we've been looking for a way out. We've been looking for where to go, but I feel like more to get like away from a certain situation or how to deal with a certain situation. Let me pull more cards here to get more specific. So I'm pulling Oracle cards here. I'm going to see if I can pick up anything as I shuffle here, as I look at this. Yeah, it's like looking for direction, where to go. Not something we're not seeing. Looking at specifically the things we're not seeing. Is there something we're not seeing? Is there something we're not seeing? Is there a choice we're not seeing? Is there a choice we're not seeing? Is there a path we're not seeing? Is there a direction we're not seeing? Is there something we're missing? This is literally what I'm getting. Okay, the bed. It's just something that comes to you maybe while you're laying in bed. You know, these are the things that are thinking about. Am I missing something? Is there something I'm missing now? Why? Let's see. On the bottom, I have bread, which is something that we need with Taurus. So I think that maybe we've been complacent. It's like we've been complacent, but something tugs at us, and it's like, maybe we could have done something. Could we have taken this path? Maybe we could have taken that path. Can we take that path? Is that a sustainable path? Could I find my bread? Could I find what gives me life on this path? We don't know. We're kind of like inspecting. Maybe while we're laying in bed. Very interesting. Okay, let me look at the top card, see if there's any more details. This is very weird. Recent past energy here, as well as present. Recent past and present energy. Looking at the top couple cards here, just to see if I can get anything else. I have the Six, Capricorn, and the Mask. So yeah, it's like, what's going to make us happy in the long term? Like, which direction is going to truly make us happy long terms? Like, for the rest of our lives, or for the rest of the conceivable future, right? Okay. That's what's running through our heads in bed. And also, would these possibilities be sustainable? Something that I could actually make happen? Something that could actually sustain me, give me my daily bread? Is this possible? Plausible? All right, let's keep going. So I'm going to move on to the present now, and now I'm going to look at the position of the head. This is going to tell me what you guys are thinking, and it's going to sort of help me piece together the puzzle, because this is going to tell me your logical thoughts really on this subject, what you guys have been sort of sitting with for a while. So I have here the Sun with the House. What will make me happy? What is, like, not even just what will make me happy, but it's like, who am I, right? The house is us. And it's like, what will make us happy? But we kind of need to figure out who we are before we can figure out what's going to make us happy. It's wrapped up in our identity when the house shows up. Who we are and what will make us happy. Let me pull some cards to see if there's any information on this. It's tied to the recent past, not seeing a direction. So I feel like identity, not seeing the right path to go, is also tied to your identity, right? What is the best path for you? Tell me more about the position of the head here. What are my Cancer signs thinking logically? This is like strategies also. Again, I'm just clarifying the Sun with the House. What is our identity? The thing that makes us truly happy, where we can be like most ourselves. The bed, again, interesting. I think you guys This is what you guys are thinking about in bed. This is, again, these thoughts are happening while you're in bed. It's like when you have maybe like a peace of mind, maybe just when you're resting. It doesn't have to necessarily be in bed. When you guys are resting, these thoughts like come through, and you start to like really start to think about like what path is going to be like is right for me, is going to be for me, is going to give me the most of what I want for myself. These are all things that are going through your head. All right, let's keep going. So I'm still in the present, but I am going to look at your emotions this time. That's what these two cards are going to represent. So let's take a look. All right, so I have the Hanged Man in reverse with Pisces. So still confusion. We are still kind of lingering. I'm looking at Pisces right now. But Pisces isn't actually necessarily just confusion. It's also like accepting a level of not knowing. That's Pisces, because Pisces is also going with the flow. It's like when you don't know, sometimes you got to go with the flow. That's Pisces. And I think you've accepted that, where you're at a point where you might just have to go with the flow to figure out what's best for you, what makes you happy, to get out of the Seven of Swords states in the recent past. Because the only way to find out something, to find your path sometimes, is like for trial and error, right? So I think now you're at the point where I'm going to go with the flow and I'm just going to try whatever comes to me, because I haven't really been successful in discerning it through my thoughts. Okay, so let's that's pretty clear to me. So there's one position left in the present. Then I'm going to look into the future a little bit for you guys. So this last position, though, talks about your actions at the moment. This is literally what you guys are doing actively. So I have the Knight of Cups with the Rabbits. You guys are doing a lot of smooth talking. Schmoozing. Maybe you guys work in the sales field, because, yeah, this is a lot of, like, the silvered tongue here. To not just one person, but a lot of people. All right, let me pull cards on this, because this doesn't really fit very well with the rest of the reading. Okay, so the cards that kind of flipped over, I have the Skull and Crossbones, the Sun, the Arrow, and the Nut. So it's interesting because we have death and rebirth on both sides. Death, rebirth. In between that, we have the Sun and the Arrow on target. So in between this death and rebirth, there is finding joy. That's where you guys are at. You guys are like on the fence, right? You're in between a death and rebirth process. You're in between like an old life and a new life. And there is still like sort of a where do I go feeling. You're going with the flow. But this is a fresh start. So that's sort of why we have this death and rebirth energy, and why the Sun and the Arrow are in the middle. You guys are also kind of like trying to enjoy the moment as you go with the flow. I think that's a really good strategy. But with the Knight and with the Knight of Cups here, it's also leading with the heart. It's also like really just leading with the heart with everyone here. On the bottom, I do have the Manticore, though. So there is still something plaguing us. There is still a nagging sensation that, well, we still don't know where we're going. We still feel a little bit restricted. I think it's maybe because we still haven't got a concrete direction in place. So there's a sense of restriction. I have the Manticore on the bottom with the Staff and Saturn. Like, we got a lot of pent-up energy. This is a fresh start. And we're ready to like put the pedal to the metal, but we don't know where to go, and that's frustrating. There's a sense of frustration. In the meantime, I think that we're just trying to do a lot of schmoozing. That's what we're doing in the meantime, because we're trying to like try a little bit of everything, maybe, right? We're going with the flow, talking to everybody. All right, let's look into your future. So, Cancer signs, what's coming up for your short-term future? What maybe is going to come out of this situation. It's not really a specific situation here. It's more like a state of being. But what's going to come out of that? Let's take a look. I have Pluto with the Oracle card of the Hermit. This is finally figuring out your path. How are you figuring out your path? Through your desires, honestly. So soul searching, that's the Hermit, is like taking time to yourself to think about, well, yourself. Think about everything that your life, right? Soul searching. But then even more specifically, Pluto, that's your deepest, darkest desires. That's what's going to lead you to the path that is kind of like also going to be the most like happy timeline for you. Okay? Follow your desires, Pluto. Because our desires a lot of times are linked with our soul's path. Okay, our soul kind of pushes us through our desires, so don't ignore your desires. That's like something that people do that is like a real, I think is like a huge mistake. So don't ignore your desires, do that soul searching, and that will actually lead you to your path. Let me pull a clarifier card. Anything else to my Cancer signs, please? That was fast. Okay, so another thing that I think is going to help with this, and I'm talking still about these two cards here, the Hermit with Pluto, which is the soul searching, the deep dive into your desires, is talking to people. Talking about it is helpful. I mean, people do that with therapy, but it doesn't have to be therapy, right? You can talk to anyone to kind of like do that introspection. It doesn't have to be alone. It literally doesn't. Underneath, I have Capricorn with Gemini. There's definitely a bit of a therapist vibe here with Capricorn and Gemini. Not gonna lie. So this could be like talk to a therapist to help you figure out those deepest, darkest desires that maybe you can't figure out on your own. Or at least talk to a friend. Capricorn and Gemini could be like a long-term friend or even a work friend. But talk to someone and kind of like, you might want to divulge a little bit of your secrets because the feedback might shed some light, the Hermit, right? He's got a light there on your desires and therefore on your path. Okay, let's pull advice for you guys. So that is your reading of your current situation, present, past, short-term future. Now I'm just going to pull advice. What is the best strategy for you guys on how to deal with the present and the short-term future? Or maybe even just forever. Like, what is the best advice here, please, for my Cancer signs? What should my Cancer signs be doing, focused on, or maybe even aware of? Can I have some advice for my Cancers, please? Cancer signs? Any advice? Okay. I have a card, but I'm going to see if anything else wants to come out with tarot. Any advice for my Cancer signs, please? Okay, I got one more card. Kind of felt like something else wanted to come out. Oh. Okay, well, I have the Five of Wands with the Ace of Wands here, which is like, I feel like if you jump to anything impulsive seems to lead you astray or seems to lead you off course. Let me see what I get for an Oracle card here. 1 second. Anything else for advice here? Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, impulsivity is a no-no. Don't do that. Take the time to figure out, like I was saying before, take the time to do the soul searching, the introspection, to shed light on all those things we were talking about before you decide your path, before you jump to any conclusions, before you make any impulsive moves. Ace of Wands, do something that is actually kind of like stupid. Not actually, I don't want to say stupid, just incorrect. You do something like irrational. Don't do something irrational because you're just in a hurry for a path to take, a direction to go, something to do. Take the time, this part of the advice, take the time to rest and get more information. And I think the get more information part kind of harkens us back to that Hermit, from before, which is really more about self-knowledge. That's what I think this book is talking about, more about that self-knowledge, okay? Before we jump to really taking any actions. It's just not going to go anywhere great unless you know where you're going. At this point in time, decisions that you make, you got to know where you're going and you got to know yourself before making them. So that's the advice. Keep your eyes out for new opportunities in the meantime, okay? Because as you discover what you want, those things will become visible to you. So that's what I'm glancing here as I'm seeing, because I just peeked at the top couple cards. I'll show them to you. It's the eye, the nut, and the sword. Keep your eye open, right? For an opportunity to make itself shown. That's these two cards, the sword with the nut. Because once you realize what you're looking for, you will see it. But don't jump to conclusions until you know what it is. So that's your advice, Cancer. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you all. If this resonated for you, I would love it if you press the like button for me. That helps me out. And I will see you in a couple weeks.